Welcome to Heidi Relationships. Today, we'll read some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you very much in advance.
The first one is titled, Me, 18 male with my dad 46 male. I'm afraid he's going to do something to the man who killed my mother while drunk. My mom was killed around 10 years ago, when I was 8. She was killed by a drunk driver. We live in a relatively small town, and everyone knew who did it. The guy was sentenced to 10 years. I can't even remember her anymore. I can only just look at pictures of her, all because of a horrible person. I hate this guy so much. But it's nothing compared to how much hate my dad feels for him. It took a few years for my dad to recover. He still went to his job, he still drove me around, but he didn't talk much. He kinda just lost his emotions. I remember him leaving for a few days 4 years ago, and he came back a different person. I asked him what happened, and he told me he made his peace with what happened. But now? It's a few months before the guy who killed my mom gets out. He's coming back to our town. He has family here, and they are going to let him come back. My dad has changed completely. He's stopped talking to me except for maybe a few sentences. He bought a shotgun maybe 2 weeks back. I asked him about it and he told me it was none of my business. Just yesterday he was crying. I asked him to tell me what was wrong, and he just hugged me. He told me I was growing up, I'd have to stand up for myself, and one day he wouldn't be with me anymore. I'm scared that he said those things and he bought that gun because he intends to kill the other guy once he gets out of jail, and I think my dad will do it even if it means he goes to jail or dies. I have no one I can talk to, and I don't know what to do. I can't just call the police, or tell someone. We aren't a super part of the community. People see us as that family that the mom died, and now they just keep to themselves. I don't know what to do or who to talk to. I don't want my dad to ruin his life for revenge. I just don't know. I feel completely helpless. A user in the comments said, Dad, I want you to talk to me about that gun. I am not stupid. I know what you're planning. And I am scared. It hasn't been easy the last 10 years without Mom. I don't want to spend the next without you as well. What happened to Mom was an accident, however reckless. What you are planning is intentional and selfish. Don't make me face the loss of both my parents. Don't leave me to fend for myself on my own, because you're hellbent on causing another family to suffer like we did. Don't make me face the world alone because learning to live with Mom's death is harder than destroying yourself. There is help out there. I love you, Dad. I know it's hard, but please try. You're all I got. The next one is titled, Update to the Father Revenge Story. I want to thank every single person who gave me advice. All of it was really helpful, and it calmed me down, and gave me a plan. I went up to my dad on Monday, and said this to him, Dad, I love you and I'm worried about how you've been behaving recently. You're a good father and I'm scared that you're going to do something rash and you won't be around anymore. Please talk to me and tell me what's going on. My dad just had a deer in the headlights look. I then told him, Dad, you've been acting different lately with buying a gun, and crying, and all the other things. What's going on? I know you are having a lot of feelings because the guy who killed Mom is getting out soon. So am I. We can work on this together. My dad broke down, and so did I. We talked about how hard it was for him when Mom first died, how he was sorry for being so distant in the first few years, how he felt like a terrible father and husband. I asked him the question if he intended to kill the other guy, or commit suicide. He cried even harder, and said he was confused, and didn't know if killing that guy would avenge Mom's death. I told him that Mom wouldn't want him to go to jail for the rest of his life, and neither do I. That guy wasn't worth it, and I didn't want him to take both my parents away from me. I brought up counseling, and he agreed to go. I got one separate for him and me, because I didn't feel it was right to intrude upon his closure. I mean, he did know my mom as a different person, and had different experiences. We are going to a therapist this Saturday, one in the city, and my dad promised to sell the shotgun. I want to thank everyone here from the bottom of my heart for helping me, and my dad though this. Thank you. The next one is titled, I, 24M. Caught my sister, 26F. Trying to steal a watch of mine, and now my mother, 51F, wants me to apologize to her. So last night I had some people over to celebrate moving into my new place. I had some family and friends, including my sister and my mother. When I was growing up with my sister, she would often steal from myself and other family members. Money from my mom's purse or dad's wallet. She'd sneak into my room and take things. Steal money from our grandparents, etc. We aren't very close because of this, and I always try to keep an eye on her when she's around. Despite this, I decided to invite my sister over because she doesn't live too far away, and I know my mom would have been upset if I didn't. I put all of my watches and valuables in my safe, but I left out the watch I had planned on wearing that night, but ended up not wearing it and leaving it on my dresser. At one point during the party my sister asked me where the bathroom was and I pointed down the hallway and told her the bathroom was on the left. A couple minutes later I went to go grab something from my room and saw her come out of my room as I was walking down the hall. She gave me this startled deer in the headlights look and said she was looking for the bathroom and walked away really quickly. I immediately got worried and went to do a quick look around my room. I immediately noticed the watch missing from on top of my dresser. This isn't some cheap $20 watch. I paid over $30K for it earlier this year. I left my room and went straight to my sister to confront her. I pulled her off to the side so it wouldn't cause a scene, and told her that I knew she took my watch and if she gave it back right then I wouldn't call the cops. She got extremely defensive and started yelling about how she didn't take shit from me, and how I'm an asshole etc. At this point, a lot of people were staring and listening us. She told me she was leaving and started heading toward the door. I knew if she left I might never see my watch again, so I grabbed her purse from her and dumped everything on the ground. Sure enough, there is my watch right there on the ground with the rest of the stuff from her purse. My sister screamed at me and called me a fucking asshole and scooped up most of her stuff and ran out of my place. My mom followed her out and ended up not returning to the party. So after an awkward rest of the party, I got a call from my mom. She was mad at me. I got some long lecture about how I didn't need to humiliate my sister in front of everyone at the party, how she couldn't help herself, and that my sister is crying and upset now because of the scene I caused. She also got mad at me for going through my sister's purse and told me that I should never look in a lady's purse and that it was a complete invasion of privacy. First of all, I tried to pull my sister off to the side. She was the one who started yelling at me and causing a scene that made everyone look over at her. I also wouldn't have had to go through her purse if she didn't steal from me and deny it and try to leave. I'm not just going to risk losing a $30K watch because I shouldn't look through a lady's purse. So now my mom wants me to not only apologize to my sister, but to tell all the guests that were there that it was a big misunderstanding and my sister didn't take anything. I'm really not sure what I should do about my mom. There is no way I'm going to apologize to my sister. She should be the one apologizing to me. And I'm certainly not going to lie to my guests to get my sister out of the awkward mess she created for herself. I also don't know what to do about my sister. At this point I'm pretty much just done with her. I think she should be the one apologizing, but I doubt she will ever do that. Thanks in advance for any advice. A user in the comments said, "Sounds like both your mom and sister are banned from your house from now on. Your sister can steal your mom's things all she want. She doesn't get to steal yours. If you have other valuables in the house, you should look around. Things like a checkbook can hide in a back pocket." Another user said, "She would get an apology over my dead body. Never, ever, ever. It serves her right to be publicly humiliated. I wouldn't let her back in my house again and I would tell my mom to piss up a rope if she is going to defend your sister. No wonder she constantly steals. Your mom feeds into it being acceptable." The next one is titled, Update. I, 24M. Caught my sister, 26F. Trying to steal a watch of mine, and now my mother, 51F. Wants me to apologize to her. I invited my mom to lunch so that we could discuss what happened at the party and where to go from there. I explained to her that my sister stole a very expensive watch from me. It wasn't just some trinket, and it shouldn't matter even if it was. I tried to pull her away and confront her in private, but she chose to yell and curse at me and cause a scene. I also told her that I understand it is never okay to look into someone's private purse or bag. but that sort of etiquette goes out the window when tens of thousands of dollars of my stolen property is in her purse. My mom then went on a long rant about how we are all family and that her and my sister believe that a family should share in each other's success. She told me that my sister was just upset because I was hoarding all of my money for myself and that it's understandable what she did. She said that I would never gotten where I am today without all the work she put into raising me and the influence her and my sister had on my life. Then she went on to tell me that I owe it to her to evenly share my success with her and my sister since we are family and they would certainly do the same in my position. That's a laugh. At this point I'm pretty dumbfounded. Not only because she thinks my sister's actions were somehow justified, but because she credits herself for my success and thinks it's selfish of me not to share with her and my sister. And don't even get me started on her trying to act like her and my sister would do the same. I know for a fact my sister wouldn't give me a dime if I were 10 cents short for a heart transplant. And my mom still owes me tens of thousands of dollars that she borrowed and swore she would pay back. I don't expect it back and wrote it off as soon as I gave it to her. I just can't even fathom how my mom could actually think like that. At that point I was so furious and didn't want to say anything I'd regret, so I got up and walked out. Oh yeah, I also got a text half an hour later saying that I owed her money for lunch since I was the one who invited her. Despite the fact that neither of us had even ordered before I left. As far as my sister goes, I haven't contacted her and she hasn't contacted me. At this point I'm just done with her in my life. I don't know if I should do the same for my mother though. I would hate to not have a relationship with her, but I just can't believe how she could possibly think those things. Would love some advice on what to do as far as my relationship with my mother goes. Thanks. Edit. Small update I thought I'd post. She called me but I didn't want to talk so I let it go to voicemail. She left a voicemail telling me to check my email. Here is her email. First of all, it was very rude of you to walk out on me at the cafe. I was humiliated and you should know better than to treat your mother like that. As I said in the text, you owe me money for lunch since you were the one who invited me so please bring $60 to give to me at Craig's barbecue. It is a shame that I even need to be telling you this. I know I raised you better than that. But you really need to start supporting this family. We are all one, and the success of any individual needs to be spread around the family. Your sister works as a pastry chef and is always more than happy to bake for everyone and bring us treats from work. I wish you would do the same. You can start out by helping me with the new apartment I'm moving to. The rent is $4,250 per month, not including utilities. I am planning on moving in around the 1st of September so that gives you plenty of time to set up some sort of monthly bank transfer. I'm going to need $8,500 in about 2 weeks for the first and last month's rent. I'll also need you to come over a few times this month to help move my stuff over there. Bring the bigger truck, unless that's the manual because Todd doesn't know how to drive stick. As a thanks for moving my things over there I will cover the security deposit myself so you don't even need to worry about it. And you still haven't apologized to sister's name. So please get that done this week. It will take 5 minutes tops so just get it done. It was wrong to humiliate her like that and guess you had to be the one comforting her. Me. Like usual. Text me to confirm that you got everything and let me know how soon you can bring the big truck over. I should also mention that I currently pay for her rent. After some long guilt trip about how she gave me free food and housing for 18 years so it's time for me to repay the favor. I can clearly see now that that was a big mistake. Now she just assumes I'm going to pay her rent at some new huge place that costs twice as much and that she doesn't need? At this point I'm done giving her any support. She clearly has no appreciation for it. That's just a taste of how my mom acts. She is extremely entitled and just expects everything in life to be given to her. Edit. Another update. So I just sent my mom an email letting her know that I will not be giving her any more money. Here's the gist of it. I will not be paying the rent for the new more expensive apartment you want to move in. Not only will I not be paying for that, but I won't be paying your rent for any apartment anymore. You will have to do that yourself. In addition to that, I will not be giving you any money whatsoever. You have shown that you have no respect for me or the work it takes to earn money and I cannot continue to pay for things you don't need. I know this means cutting back a bit, but there is no reason for you to be living outside your means and I won't subsidize your expensive lifestyle. I wrote it all out completely different, but that's the gist of what I told her. So just waiting for the freakout I'm sure is going to happen. The next one is titled, Update. I, 24M. Caught my sister, 26F. Trying to steal a watch of mine, and now my mother, 51F. Wants me to apologize to her. After going through all the comments, thanks for the advice. I decided to send my mother an email letting her know that I will absolutely not be paying for the new place she made plans to move to, and that I will stop paying her rent altogether. I told her that she clearly does not respect me or the work I put in order for me to be in a position to give her the money that I do. I also told her that I would not be financially supporting her in any way. A few hours after I sent the email my phone starts blowing up. Calls over and over again. I still really didn't want to talk to her so I ignored them all. A little while later I get a call from my friend Dave, except when I answer the phone it's my mom. I found out later from Dave that she showed up at the bike shop he works at and made up some story about her locking her purse with her phone and keys in the car and needing to call me for a ride. She immediately goes off on me about how ungrateful I am and that she is disgusted by the email I sent etc. She told me that it's my duty to make sure she is well cared for and comfortable, as she is the reason I'm here in the first place. The worst part was when she told me that if she knew I was going to end up this way that she wouldn't have put her life on hold for the last 2 decades in order to have me, and that I cost her her job and my dad and a bunch her life plans. I couldn't even get a word in with all her yelling. The last thing she said was something along the lines of, "You need to have a come to Jesus moment and realize how much you are hurting your mother." I have already packed up most of my stuff and have spent a ton of time setting this move up. I expect the $8,500 before the weekend is over in a cashier's check, so let me know when you have it. And then she hung up. I don't think I have even been so mad in my entire life. She pretty much just told me that I need to make up for everything she missed out on in order to have me by giving her money and making sure she's taken care of. I called her back and she tried to start talking and I don't remember exactly what I said because I was so angry, but I basically told her to shut the fuck up and let me talk, but with more swearing and yelling. I'm usually pretty calm and would never swear at my mom. I would never even swear near her. And I know I shouldn't have said that, but I wasn't thinking straight. I told her she better find another place to live or pay her rent herself because she wasn't getting another dime from me. I turned my phone off after that because I didn't want to deal with any more calls or texts. I eventually needed to use my phone, so I turned it back on and just blocked her number. I saw that I had some calls, messages from her, but I didn't want to look at them. This morning I got a call from the front desk at my building telling me that my mom had tried get up to my room, but I had already told the elevator staff, security, to take her off my guest list. Apparently she caused quite the fuss when they wouldn't let her up. She is blocked on my phone now, so I haven't heard from her today yet, but I expect her to blow up on me again for what happened this morning. I think she's probably in denial and thinks that I will cave and pay for her new place. I'm worried about what she's going to do when the deadline for her to pay for her new place comes up, and I refuse to give her any money. The move-in date is pretty soon and I'm sure she has to pay it pretty soon. I'm actually surprised she hasn't had to pay already. So that's going to cause a massive shitstorm. I'm really worried about what she's going to do. Thanks again for all the advice. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.